All right, howdy guys. So this is our end of the year project, and it's over Times Beach, Missouri. It's by all the people listed below, and I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves as we get started. So with that being said, let's get started. Um, my name is Chase Pope, and I'm giving you the background over the event. So nearly 40 years ago, Times Beach, Missouri was a growing town about 17 miles outside of St. Louis, Missouri. But now it's just a complete ghost town, and although Times Beach is the poster child for this catastrophic event, it actually occurred, and it started in Verena, which is a couple towns over, and there was a facility there that was producing a defoliant agent which kills plants for the Army. It's known as Agent Orange. Unfortunately, a byproduct of this toxin and this chemical is dioxin, and it is hazardous to many organisms, and they had to hold it in tanks so it didn't get out into the environment. But if you're holding stuff in tanks, at some point you're going to run out of room. So they hired a man by the man of Russell Bliss, and he took this dioxin and mixed it with oil, and not really thinking, and I'm not sure what his plan was there. He came in, and the city of Times Beach hired him to spray down all their dirt roads to keep the dust from flying up. And so he came in, he mixed oil with the dioxin solution and sprayed it all throughout the town. But problems really started to arise when he sprayed like a horse stable, and these horses began to die. So the CDC was contacted, and they found tremendous amounts of dioxin in the soil. And then the problem further compounded with the flooding of the Merrimack River. As you can see on this graph here, on one side of the river, it's really elevated, which means when this river flooded, it went all down to that Times Beach area. And unfortunately, the areas along the side of that river were covered in dioxin. So that dioxin just carried all through the town, and really it wreaked havoc. So yeah, that's the beginning of this event, and I'll pass the slide on.
Hello, my name is Kwong Pham, and today I will be discussing about the hazards to the community. So, dioxins in high enough levels can cause a whole host of health issues. For example, it can cause cancer, it can cause reproductive and developmental problems, it can also compromise immune systems, it can also interfere with hormones. So, it was found that in the Times Beach area and other areas in the surrounding vicinity, dioxin levels were found to be anywhere between 100 parts per billion to 300 parts per billion. For perspective on just how bad that actually is that the EPA and CDC considers that for dioxin levels to be considered toxic, it would be 1 parts per billion. So in other words, in some areas, it could be as much as 100 times to 300 times more toxic. And then the situation became even worse when the Merrimack River flooded in 1982 because it was feared that it probably spread the toxin around.
So hi there, I'm Kenton Brake, and I'll be covering the cleanup and removal section. So after the EPA found out that the toxin was ubiquitous throughout the town and through eastern Missouri, the federal government bought all of the property and the businesses with money from the Superfund Act, which is meant to help clean up environmental disasters. And this allowed the residents of the town to evacuate without any terrible financial burdens on them. And they demolished all of the buildings in the city, and they collected all of the soil that had been contaminated, and they incinerated it. And what the incineration does is it doesn't completely remove the dioxin, but it does reduce the solid volume of material that needs to be disposed of. That's what incineration does. And so they ended up with about 95 to 96% less waste to dispose of in their landfill. And so all of that was put into this big mound, and it was buried underground and sealed off. And so to this day, there is no toxin that remains because it was all buried and covered up after it was incinerated.
Howdy, my name is Jackson Swoboda, and I had the aftermath of the event. So after everything went down, the town was never rebuilt, and the only building left standing for the town is the visitor center, and that serves as a sort of welcome center for a state park nowadays. All the buildings were buried under a mound of dirt that's still there. While the area contained no harmful toxins, there was never an effort to rebuild it. The government didn't really see the benefit of keeping the town, even though both the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the AMA, the American Medical Association, They decided there was no risk to human life due to the low levels of the dioxins. Um, a state park was built at its place. It is the Route 66 State Park. And again, the visitor center of the town serves as the welcome center there now. Uh, for the people living in the town, it was pretty disastrous because their entire town was abandoned. Around 800 families were moved. Um, there was a cost of around $36.7 million that were dispersed among the home business owners to reimburse them for the cost of their town. These are all of our references. We use this for the information and the research in the project. And this is our charter. This is all of our delegations for our duties. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. It was fun making it, and have a good day.